You're probably thinking, oh great, another blizzard of snowflakes from Last Cuck Tonight with Johnny Triggerwarn. You're probably thinking, oh great, another blizzard of snowflakes from Last Cuck Tonight with Johnny Triggerwarn.
I mean, if there were thousands, that would have been reported. But
this
what I'm trying to
article
get
says
at
they were swarming. Bill, this article says they were swarming all over the place.
Right.
So I don't know what that means, but it means a lot of people. It was below zero. Who ever heard of this?
Okay, just real quick on those. No, it isn't. No, he didn't. And no one's ever heard of a GDP below zero because that is...
Ever felt like you're living in a horror movie? Well, according to John Oliver, that's what it's like writing about Trump these days. And honestly, after hearing Trump's plans for America, we're starting to feel it too. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. From migrant crime to loyalty tests for government workers, Trump's vision for the future is giving us the heebie-jeebies. Let's break down why Oliver's segment has us all reaching for a nightlight. Looks like Trump's got a new dream for America, folks. And it's not exactly the kind of dream that'll have you waking up feeling refreshed. Nope, it's more like a nightmare where the White House turns into Trump's personal clubhouse.
Doing good, thank you.
How was your first flight, sir?
That's real. To give you a sense of just how much he watches cable news, a few hours later he was on Air Force One and you could actually hear the commercials from Fox News blaring in the background. If God did look down, his only thought would have been, wait, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir? You're probably thinking, oh great, another blizzard of snowflakes from Last Cuck Tonight with Johnny Triggerwarn. PolitiFact found that just over a quarter of President Obama's statements that they evaluated were some degree of false. But with Trump, that number is currently over 2/3.
And guess what? If you've got a brain, you're not invited to this party. So what's the grand plan? Well, Trump wants to play musical chairs with about 50,000 federal employees. But instead of just changing seats, he wants to change their whole job description. He's thinking of turning them into political appointees. Now that might sound boring, but it's actually pretty scary. And here's the deal. If Trump gets his way, he could fire a whole bunch of people who actually know what they're doing. You know, those pesky experts who've been working in government for years? Yeah, them. And who's he gonna replace them with? Probably a bunch of folks whose main qualification is that they think Trump's hair looks totally natural. Picture this. Government agencies run by Trump fanboys instead of people who know their stuff. It's like putting a kid in charge of a candy store, except the candy store is actually the entire country.
It made a lot of sense in his mind because if you're renting a room, you'd rather be on the 14th floor than on the 6th floor.
The murder rate in the United States, it's the worst, the highest it's been in 45 years. It was below zero. Who ever heard of this?
Okay, just real quick on those. No, it isn't. No, he didn't. And no one's ever heard of a GDP below zero because that phrase was used on Fox News just 15 minutes before he tweeted in a segment which also called Manning an ungrateful traitor.
What could go wrong, right? And if you think that's wild, wait till you hear some of the other ideas from Trump's Project 2025. One of them is messing with weather forecasts. Yeah, you heard that right. Trump's got beef with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Maybe he's still sore about that whole Sharpie incident with Hurricane Dorian. So what happens if Trump actually pulls this off? Well, imagine a country where loyalty to Trump is more important than actually being good at your job. It's like turning America into one big Trump resort, complete with gold-plated everything and you're fired as the national motto. But wait, there's more. Trump's not just after the government. Oh no, he's got bigger fish to fry. And by fish, I mean the entire country. Stick around, folks, because this rabbit hole goes deeper than Trump's spray tan. Remember when having actual skills was important for a job? Well, in Trump's America, that's so 2016. Meet the new breed of White House warriors, where loyalty trumps competence and yes sir is the only qualification you need. But here's the million-dollar question. What happens when the blind lead the legally blind? Let's take a look at Trump's dream team, shall we? First up, we've got Russell Vought, a guy who thinks being a Christian nationalist is a valid job skill. This dude's worried about Western families not popping out enough babies. I mean, who needs to focus on the economy or healthcare when we can just tell people to get busy in the bedroom, right? Then there's John McEntee, the brain behind what he calls a conservative LinkedIn, because apparently regular LinkedIn just isn't MAGA enough. This guy's big idea?
Trump just made the interior of Air Force One sound like the living room of an old person who died 3 days ago and who nobody's found yet. A few years ago, Trump was challenged by Bill O'Reilly, who correctly pointed out that his claim that thousands of Muslims were seen celebrating in New Jersey on 9/11.
If there were thousands, that would have been reported. But
This
what I'm trying to
article
get at
says
is
they were
this.
swarming. Bill, this article says they were swarming all over the place. So I don't know what that means, but it means a lot of people.
If someone changed the channel to the Sprout Network, he'd tweet, "Caillou's life is boring even for a cancer kid. Sad." Is because of this guy. Now, since taking office around 412 years ago,
Forget experience. It's all about how much you love Trump. It's like a dating app, but instead of swiping right on potential partners, you're swiping right on potential yes men. But wait, it gets better. These guys have cooked up something called Schedule F. No, it's not a new type of lunch menu. It's a sneaky way to strip federal employees of their job protections. Basically, if you don't agree with Trump, you're out faster than you can say you're fired. It's like they're trying to turn the entire government into one big Trump fan club. And let's not forget Robert Shea, a former official under George W. Bush. He's calling this whole mess a recipe for creating an army of suck-ups. I mean, when even Bush's guys think you've gone too far, you know you're in deep doo-doo. So, what's the end game for these advisors? Well, it looks like they're aiming for a government where knowing stuff is optional, but praising Trump is mandatory. It's like they're trying to create a real-life version of The Apprentice, but instead of just one business, it's the entire country at stake. And here's the kicker, if Trump actually pulls this off, we might end up with a government that's more Trump flavored than a gold-plated steak. So, what happens next? Well, folks, that's a story for another day, but let me tell you, it's gonna be huge. So, folks, we've taken a wild ride through Trump's funhouse mirror version of America, and let me tell you, it's about as appealing as a Mar-a-Lago buffet left out in the Florida sun. This Project 2025 isn't just some wacky scheme. It's a blueprint for turning our government into a reality TV show where the only winning move is kissing Trump's up. But here's the kicker, 70% of Americans think democracy is in trouble. Guess what? They're right. If we don't wake up and smell the covfefe, we might find ourselves living in a country where weather forecasts are as reliable as Trump's hair in a strong wind. So what do we do? Well, John Oliver suggests we get off our butts and get involved. Town halls, social media, heck, even talking to your neighbor about something other than their weird lawn ornaments. Because if we don't, the joke's on us, and it'll be about as funny as one of Trump's jokes about being president for life. Time to channel your inner political nerd, America. The future of our country depends on it.